Hi guys, welcome to this update video today. Today is the 1st of June, aka the official start of the 2025 Atlantic hurricane season. And it is expected to be an active season as reiterated in previous videos. And in this one, we're going to be looking at the general update, but also a brief overview in terms of what is going on right now in terms of the atmospheric trends and different factors which influence the activity that takes place each season. So let's go ahead and head into the details. Alright, and it is a pretty active afternoon across parts of the Atlantic basin, sections of the Caribbean, Jamaica, near the Cayman Islands, Cuba, the Bahamas as well. Very active. There's a frontal system within the area, and that is helping to influence a lot of atmospheric instability. So we find that there is some thunderstorm activity going on this afternoon. Some areas have been experiencing some heavy downpours as well. Other places, Northern South America, Central America, a bit active, and even parts of the Lesser Antilles have experienced some showers and maybe even continuing into this evening. So as we take a closer look at the region here, we can definitely see what's been taking place. There's all of that convection, showers, thunderstorms associated with the frontal system, and there is still that tropical wave crossing into the Pacific, and an area of low pressure may form in the eastern Pacific by midweek, and it could further develop. So for the North Atlantic, we haven't had any preseason development this year. And there's been a little highlight though. In terms of this current frontal system, we could see a piece of it, the tail end, linger around, and that may try to acquire some subtropical characteristics this week. And we'll see if that will try to materialize into anything. But sometimes these subtropical systems, they spin up very quickly, and they're usually brief. Most times they don't get really strong, but they can pack a little punch, especially when moving to land. So we'll watch for that. Models have been showing that off the southeastern U.S. coast, hinting at seeing maybe some brief formation. We'll see how that goes, but the National Hurricane Center hasn't officially highlighted something to watch. But looking at the rain forecast over the course of the next day, going into tomorrow morning, this is what we could see. Additional showers, thunderstorms, likely across much of the Bahamas, sections of Cuba, the Cayman Islands, even a few spots in Jamaica may experience some additional periods of showers today. And Central America, some areas, especially going to the Pacific coast of the territories, may experience some heavy downpours. Northern South America, nothing out the norm, a lot of heavy rain. But with that, there could be those instances of additional flooding as well. Even down to Trinidad, we could see some additional showers. ABC Islands, without the convection loitering around, there could be some additional rainfall. Likewise through the Lesser Antilles, nothing crazy though. Not a whole lot of rain expected for the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico and the Turks and Caicos Islands, but there could be some passing showers at times. Likewise for some spots in Hispaniola. And we also have that dust plume which is moving in this week. So as of right now, if you're in the Lesser Antilles or even other eastern islands such as Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands, you may notice that it's pretty hazy because of that dust plume coming in. And then as we're going to be heading into Tuesday and going into Wednesday as well, Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cuba, the Cayman Islands will be blanketed. The Bahamas and Turks and Caicos as well will be blanketed by that dust mass, and it will gradually dissipate. We see those lighter shadings as we head towards Friday. So even though it's going to be moving into the Gulf, some of that dust will make its way up to the Gulf Coast states of the U.S. as well, and may result in some hazy skies. But the higher concentrations of dust will be within the Caribbean, and then there'll be a little break in that. But we're definitely likely to see additional dust plumes over the coming weeks or so. And in terms of the dust, this is one thing that is favorable in terms of not allowing us to see any crazy intensification or even weakening systems that may already be there. So when there's a whole lot of dust and dry air, that helps to limit all that atmospheric instability, which helps to result in those thunderstorms and all that. So there's limited fuel in terms of seeing these low pressure areas attempting to get themselves together and intensify. So that is one advantage of the dust. And another factor we want to briefly look at here is the sea surface temperatures. So here we can see this graphic of the sea surface temperatures across the North Atlantic and Eastern Pacific, very warm over the EPAC. And then for the Gulf, going to the Caribbean as well. and offshore of the southeastern US, it is pretty warm. These water temperatures are very supportive of development. So we're talking about temperatures mostly around 26 degrees Celsius and above that. Not so much as we head towards parts of the African coast. It's pretty cool out there, but that will gradually warm up over the course of the coming weeks and also months. Now, models have been hinting at seeing, especially the GFS. I should especially highlight the GFS, which is a pretty robust model in terms of development. So there's been hints of something attempting to get itself together within the vicinity of the Caribbean later this month. Now, that is not at all impossible. And even looking at this graphic, this is the typical origin or typical track of systems that develop within the month of June. It doesn't mean that they don't form elsewhere, because that's happened in many cases. But when we look at numbers and statistics, this is the general area to watch, because normally in the tropical Atlantic, it's not highly favorable. We just looked at the graphic. Some places are still pretty cool in terms of the sea surface temperatures, and warmer waters are more to support development. So in terms of this graphic, this is showing what we typically expect in terms of development. And we normally don't see a whole bunch of systems forming in June. So we'll see how it goes. GFS has been pretty consistent about that. Other models haven't been too keen on it. We'll see what eventually happens. But it is not at all impossible. Once the environmental conditions are right and the proper steering mechanisms are there, we could see something take that typical track that we see within the month of June. And normally the systems that may develop in June are not very strong. And as a reminder, the first name on the list for this season is Andrea. This is a look at the general, the names for the Atlantic hurricane season of this year. And just a reminder, this is the same list used back in 2019, with the exception of Dexter, which replaced Dorian. And if you remember, Dorian was a catastrophic hurricane that devastated the northwestern Bahamas. It was a terrible Category 5 hurricane back then. I can still remember just watching Dorian sit over the Abaco Islands in Grand Bahama, just unleashing its wrath. It was a very terrible hurricane back then. So Dexter replaced it because of the damage and the fatalities that Dorian caused. And yeah, we'll see what this year has to unfold. But again, it is expected to be an active season based on the trends that are ongoing and what is expected later into the hurricane season. And also, one of my biggest promises to you guys this year is that I will try to be as efficient as possible in delivering details in regards to what is going on. So this is going to be the time when I post daily. The only reason if I don't post for say 1 or 2 days is if nothing much is happening or nothing crazy is going on. Aside from that, I'll be keeping you guys posted. And if I should have any technical issues in my end, there's a community section where I'll give you an announcement just to say, hey, this is what's going on. I'm not able to give a video today. And I mean, especially between work and uni, it's going to be a bit difficult this year because I have a lot more on my plate. But I'll be doing my best to keep you guys posted, and also in a very timely manner, because I do not like to make videos that are super long. I like to get to the point and just give you the information that you need to know. So I'll be sticking to that this year for sure. I'll do my best, guys, and also spread the word. Whether Dani'i's here to keep the public posted on what's going on. So that is it for today's update video, guys. I do hope you found it to be quite informative, but if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. I'll get to you when I can, and remember to always do otherwise.